Right, this is just like a little demonstration video. Hopefully this will work out okay, and it'll be easier to explain kind of things with REW than me trying to type them out. It's not my strong point trying to explain things as I write. So basically, when you first open REW, this is the page you'll get. Hopefully you can see the mouse. Obviously this is just sort of saying that there's a new beta version available, which I have actually downloaded, I just haven't installed it. So obviously we can cancel that. And these are really kind of your main options and the things you use up here, and it can be pretty confusing initially. So with the UMIC 1, it should take care of a lot of this, but if you click to move to the right, see the mouse over the right hand side, preferences, this brings up pretty much everything you need to set it up. So if we look here, we've got kind of output device. For me, that's SPDIF, which comes off the Asus sound card, which is built in. Then we've got, you know, default output, master volume. I think that's pretty much the same. I don't think I normally touch that. And then you've got obviously the input device, which is basically the line in on the Asus sound card. Oh, ignore that, cancel that. So so that basically means it's coming out SPDIF from the sound card and basically going in analog line in on the sound card. So that's basically the measuring section, which is different obviously to if you're using the UMIC 1. This should all be taken care of with that. It should say UMIC 1 or something of the like in here. The important part is this, and just making sure this is selected to how you're going to output, whether that's analog coming off some sort of sound card or the motherboard, or if it's digital. So pay attention to this, and I would suggest just leaving pretty much everything else. Now in the last post I was talking about taking like a sound card calibration. Now again, this should all be done for you in the UMIC 1. There's no mention of this in that guide that I linked to, but basically what I was trying to explain is normally with REW, and the way I've been doing it for years, is you take a measurement of your sound card. So it gives, I think it gives REW kind of a baseline of the sound card, therefore it uses that as part of the calculations maybe for the measurements that it's taking, so that it gives you an accurate measurement, and it won't let you take a measurement without this. So all that really does is it measures the output from the sound card, it basically comes out the sound card back into the sound card and takes a measurement of that loop, and it gives you a baseline, which I can actually show you in a second. Now there's no mention of this either for the UMIC 1. Now normally this is quite important, just to make sure you've got the correct volume levels for taking a measurement. So obviously this is not plugged into any sound at the moment, but you can do it via the subwoofer or via the speakers. You check levels, and if you click next, this is kind of like a baseline volume measurement. So normally this is plugged into a preamp of some sort, and you literally increase the volume on the preamp. Literally, once it's all set up and your microphone's in place, as you increase the volume, you'll see this level go up here, and obviously you're trying to mirror this level in terms of a measurement, so that you get a decent measurement. It's not too quiet, not too loud, etc., etc. So that's what that's for, is checking levels. Now it doesn't mention doing this in the UMIC 1 instructions. I don't know if this is possible or not, again, because I haven't got one to try, but it's just something to pay attention to, just to make sure you're getting the right levels. But you pretty much change the level for this anyway with the preamp when you set it up to take a measurement, which I'll do in a separate video. So I would say it's worth checking this and just make sure you're getting. This is a good way to check to make sure everything's working. So when you click next here and next, and you should see this start to move, and you'll know then whether things are working correctly, because you can hear an output through your system. It's just like a pink noise output, and obviously you can see that your measuring device is measuring correctly as well. So it's quite an important thing to pay attention to. And then if you just look back at the top here, again, this is the microphone that you're using. So you don't want a C-weighted SPL meter. That's like your Radio Shack meter there. So you want to make sure you've clicked on this. And I'm guessing it'll all be done for you with the UMIC 1 when you basically select that that's what you're using for REW. Now over here is like this is important. This is where you basically put your calibration file for the UMIC 1 or whatever microphone you're using. I use basically an anti-mode, a DS Speaker anti-mode microphone, which is perfectly good for the job. It just means you need quite a few other things to make that work, but so I've been using that for years. It's literally just a case of opening up like the Windows browse structure and finding the file wherever you saved it. I always save things on the desktop. My desktop's a mess, but at least I just know it's quick. Go desktop and obviously find it. So that literally there, what that does is that basically corrects for the imperfections of the microphone. It seems like with the UMIC 1 that they do a specific correction for every individual microphone. That's the way it appears, and that's absolutely fantastic. The one that I've got is really just a general correction for all of the types of microphones that are used by the anti-mode, but I would have thought it's accurate enough for taking readings and checking things. However, the UMIC one seems like the perfect solution for REW and the perfect solution for measuring. So had that been available years ago, I would have bought that, 100%, because I've already invested in this technology. What I'm using here, that's generally what I use, but I'm fully aware that the UMIC one is probably a better solution, certainly for convenience, if not for accuracy as well. So that to me was like the go-to product. You just buy one of those, and that stays in your arsenal, just like a sound pressure level meter. That's something you really should have as well. You can do it on your phone, but I've picked up, I own two digital Radio Shack sound pressure levels. I think I paid 20 quid or something each for them. So you just keep them. They're just handy, just like little tools you need as part of your arsenal. But anyway, looking at the other options you've got here, you don't really need to worry about this too much. Possibly in the future you might want to add a house curve to things, which it's not for house music. It's just to try and correct bass levels for, I think it's the Fletcher and Munson curves, where the deeper the bass, the more volume you need for it to sound. Basically, trying to get you get a flat sound and not necessarily a flat frequency response. You need more bass at 30 Hertz for it to equal the same output to your ears at, say, 90 Hertz, because our ears are small. And it's just obviously the way the ears work. And I think it's Fletcher and Munson is a whole graph where you see the curves rise. The deeper the bass, the more you need for it to appear at the same volume. So that's kind of how you set up, house curves, and that's to do with equalization and stuff. But to me, this is crucial. This is a crucial how I set up my system. But for purposes of initially just getting some measurements and looking at room acoustics, it's not quite so important. So hopefully this will help. Again, a lot of this should be taken care of as part of the UMIC's setup, because it's not mentioned as part of the instructions. But this definitely, pay attention to the output device. That needs to be correct. Yeah, and I'll make another video for a few other pointers following this one. Hopefully it helps. Cheers.